Hello everyone and welcome to the Pint-Sized History Christmas special on the Christmas Truce in World War One. Joe and I hope you enjoyed the episode coming up, but we just wanted to say very quickly that after Christmas we'll be taking a short break. So the next podcast episode that you'll hear will be coming out on the 22nd of January. I hope you have a great Christmas period. Merry Christmas, Happy New Year, and lots of love from the Pint-Sized History podcast, Zach and Joe.
Two friends meet up to drink some beers and talk about past times. Not yesterday, but long ago, it's scandals, wars and crimes. From Stalin's reign to Prohibition, Tudors, Pompey, Bush and NASA's mission, Edison's spoke, Genghis Khan's rise to victory. Forget your old teacher, it's time for Pint-Sized History.
Merry Christmas, one and all, and welcome to the Pint-Sized History Pod's Christmas special. Merry Christmas, Merry Christmas. I'm Zach.
And I'm Joe.
Merry Christmas, Joe. Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas to you too, Zach.
As you can see, we're wearing festive garments. We've got some tinsel wrapped
No
around
one
us.
watches the visuals, Zach. No one watches the visuals.
I'm wearing a lovely Christmas jumper that I wear for Christmas dinner, which I wore today for Christmas dinner.
And I'm wearing a Christmas hat in memory of Santa. Or as the Brits say, Father Christmas.
Yes.
You know, this is so budget that we're wearing the same bit of tinsel. So if I yank it,
Stop
you
it.
can see
Stop it.
You can see it.
Stop yanking my tinsel. You're yanking my
Exactly.
tinsel, you are.
I love yanking.
On Christmas Day, we don't yank each other's tinsel.
Maybe we do.
This is the friendliest you'll ever get us on Pint-Sized History
I
Pod.
love you, Zach.
Me too.
Oh, and may I say,
Happy Christmas to you.
Happy Hanukkah. You know, my mum. This is a little cute little story. My mum saw Zach at Christmas a few years ago, and because Zach's Jewish, my mum thought she'd be nice and say to him, "Happy Hanukkah, Zach," thinking she was being nice. And then Zach said, "Oh fucking! You don't think I celebrate Christmas? Of course you're going to go Happy Hanukkah, like yeah, because I'm Jewish. How dare you do that? Like, just be normal with me. Don't act like I'm something." And my poor mum thought he was being real and not just being a total dick. And she said to me the next day, she was like, "Oh, I felt so bad. I was really mean to Zach." And I listened to the story, and I was like, "That's just it. He doesn't mean that at all. He's just being a total dick."
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Sorry. So, Sophie, listen to this. I hope you've had a lovely Christmas, and I'm so sorry for that. Do you want to hear a better story? I did the exact same thing, but to Carrie's mum.
Oh, no.
And she made the first time we went around there for Christmas dinner. She made everyone pigs and blankets. And as you might know, in Judaism, pork is not kosher. So,
That's a shame. Pigs and blankets fucking ripped.
so she did. No, I'm not kosher. So
Of course.
she just fearing that me being kosher didn't put any pigs and blankets on my plate. I put like pigs and blankets everyone else's. So I just went to Carrie, why are there no pigs and blankets on my plate?
That's quite sweet though. At least she's trying to be
There weren't
nice.
any left. Like that was it. So I didn't get any pigs and blankets because Carrie's
didn't have a
was
go at
being
it.
extra special.
So you didn't say,
Extra
how dare
careful.
you not put pigs and blankets on my plate? I'm starving for some pork. I have no interest in kosher stuff. I would love to eat this pig's.
Oh, get over
Did
it.
you not
so
say
I've
that?
upset your mum
Why'd
a
you have
little
a go
bit.
at my mum then?
Okay.
Nice
It's all about
nice
you.
to
It's
Carrie's
all about
mum.
you and your mum.
Yeah,
well, let me tell you, I think the issue is at the time I was probably trying to impress my partner's parents,
Right.
whereas you, I have no regard for you or your family.
Okay.
Shall we get into what we're talking about today?
We're going to do a little special Christmas episode on the Christmas Truce, or the story of 1914, World War I, Christmas Day, which is a really special, beautiful story, and one that I think often kind of people aren't sure what's myth and what's reality. So it'll be good to actually get some basis and fact into what we're talking about. If you don't know what it is the true stories about opposing soldiers during World War I unofficially cease firing during the Christmas of 1914. Not just Christmas Day, but basically that whole week. At
Only
different
one
points.
week. Well, that's something I didn't know
in
already.
certain parts, like I'll explain more as we go along. Before we start on the Christmas Truce, obviously we need a tiny bit of backstory. World War I had broken out 5 months ago, and the fighting has been brutal. But quite importantly, trench warfare was a relatively new thing up to this point. After 2 months or so, both sides started digging trenches and attempted to outflank one another. This began the battle to the sea, which was essentially both sides constantly digging their trenches on the flank over and over, trying to outflank each other along the battlefield from the North Sea all the way to the Swiss frontier or border, I guess. One long battle line across Europe. So after a few months of brutal fighting, suddenly there was a lull in combat and as the stalemate took over. This continued towards the winter, and although obviously while still at war, there certainly wasn't as much animosity towards one another as there would be in later parts of World War I. At the start of the war, many believed it would be over by Christmas. Officials had no interest in a truce. The Pope had requested a ceasefire for Christmas, as did the British suffragettes. they'd also requested it to the high commands of both countries, but both sides refused. Some of these trenches were close enough that you could hear the other side. Many of these trenches, many segments of the trenches.
Come get some, you Jerry bastard.
Pretty much exactly that. From the very beginning of World War One.
Das ist ein stupid
Das
hat
ist
you're
ein
wearing there.
Idiot.
Is that strange there?
That's right. From the very beginning of World War One trench warfare,
You are smaller men than us.
both sides would communicate with each other primarily in the base of insults. Just slagging each other off. You Jerry Fox, basically.
Very quickly, do you mind if I interject with the story about the Canadians in World War One?
Yeah, go for it.
So
is this factually correct? Are we getting all our facts correct on Christmas Day?
I believe it's factually correct.
Because you know in Christianity it's a sin to lie on Christmas.
Yeah, I'm Jewish. I don't give a fuck about that.
I just lied and it's Christmas.
So apparently the Canadians in World War One would throw ration packs over to the German trenches.
Oh, really?
And they did this on I think, I can't remember what it was. It must have been like an individual unit threw their ration packs over. And the Germans in the other trench would think, "Oh no, that's a grenade. Let's get away from that." And they'd walk away from the ration pack. So then they eventually got close to it. And they realised, "Oh, this isn't a grenade. This is food." So they would eat the food, take the food, and the Canadians next day would throw another ration pack over, and they'd go over there and think, "Is it a grenade again? No, it's just food. Let's go eat the food." Nice. And the Canadians did this for a few days until the Germans naturally thought that the Canadians were just being nice and giving them food. The next day, they threw over the ration pack, and as all the Germans went to get the food from that ration pack, every single Canadian in that unit took their grenades out and chucked them at the same time over to their trench and grenaded those poor Germans.
Wait, sorry.
Apparently,
sorry, hold on. Well,
this is a story.
I thought this is a wholesome story, but in fact, you're actually telling a story of the Canadians tricking. Germans
violating the Geneva Convention. Yeah,
that's so fucked.
Yeah. This is people think Canadians lovely. Canadians are not lovely.
That's actually crazy.
But yeah, they are our Commonwealth brothers.
Thoughts? What's your reasoning for this war crime?
Commonwealth brothers are Canadian friends.
Well, that's sad. I actually thought when you started that story, I thought you were going to say something quite wholesome.
No. See, my take on World War One is that there's nothing wholesome about it. Even this. Because I just.
Oh Christ! We'll get in the spirit.
I'll explain at the end.
Okay,
you can come back to me and ask why I don't think.
I will have a go at you though, because I think this is a nice thing. And
I want to get in the Christmas spirit. But
Joe,
my worst thought ever. Well, the word. God, I'm really bringing all your Christmases down, aren't I? Have a Merry Christmas. But World War One just does something to my brain. It makes me feel so emotional, and I can't help but feel intense morbidity about it.
There's still moments of humanity throughout the awfulness. That's the kind of what makes it so
but
emotional.
Is that a takeaway? Is that the takeaway?
It is for this,
some humanity in
I'd
the
say
horror?
so. Well, look, we haven't even talked about it.
No.
So to start debating about how to feel about it is not really fair.
Yeah.
Let's get through it first. But I'm intrigued why you feel that way.
Yeah.
We'll talk about it later, I'm sure. I hope.
Merry Christmas.
The last thing I just said was that from the beginning, they would communicate mostly insults to each other, and then you went on about this horrible Canadian story. So we'll continue from there. Apart from those insults, as you're leading up to Christmas Day, those communications, they grow more and more friendly. Like they're not so much just insults at each other and more just kind of banter. And after a while, kind of, just chat about stuff. Apparently, the language was always English between the English and Germans, because a lot of Germans lived in England and especially London in the German army. So usually there was someone that was able to speak a little English. And they all had, apparently they would just start asking about football scores, like what was the Arsenal-Liverpool score? They'd just start...
Oh, I was thinking of that.
Yeah, essentially they just started talking to each other a bit more. On Christmas Eve, one German eventually shouted, "Tomorrow, you no shoot, we no shoot." Across the line, certain pockets got up and approached each other across no man's land, often carrying alcohol or cigarettes or goodies, chocolate, whatever. They would shout, "We want the war to end." Some sections used the time to allow for bodies to be retrieved from no man's land or to repair parts of the line. This is a quote I'm going to give you from Ernie Williams, who was part of the 6th Battalion Cheshire Regiment. "We shared fags," which are cigarettes, if you didn't know that, and goodies with the Germans. Don't say that anymore. Well, I mean, I hear people say fags, but in that context, obviously. Yeah. And goodies with the Germans. And then from somewhere, somehow, this football appeared. A proper football. But we didn't form a team. It wasn't a team game in any sense of the word. It was just a kickabout. Everybody was having a go. I think at least a couple hundred of us were playing. Williams was then asked if he got a chance to kick the ball himself, and he said, "Oh yes, I had a go at it. I was pretty good then at 19. There were also stories of pockets on the line getting up and fraternizing, and other segments of the trench that were unaware of what was happening next to them. They'd see the emerging troops and be like, what's going on? And they would start shooting. So even, if you're standing up from the parapet, you've got no guarantee that the other side aren't going to just shoot you. And even if the other side have already started getting up themselves, there's no guarantee that someone a bit further down the line that can't see that on their line people are getting up will start shooting you because they're confused. So it's very, very dangerous, and it's quite remarkable that it happened so much. There are plenty of photos, usually taken on personal cameras, of those who have brought it with them to the front. So you can actually see the images for yourself. I'll show some of them while we're talking, so you can see some of these images. On the 24th, the 25th, and even occasionally on the 26th, these little moments of humanity occurred throughout the line. However, by Boxing Day, fierce orders from both sides demanded no fraternization under any circumstances, and the exchanges were mostly stifled out with a few exceptions. In the following Christmases, after 1914, there was no such opportunity for such a special event. World War I was much more entrenched, depressing, dark, exhaustive, years of bloody fighting over a few yards. Civilian deaths, chemical warfare such as mustard gas. There was no goodwill left between the sides like there was in 1914. And even if there was goodwill, it was snuffed out heavily by officers on both sides. And that's kind of what makes the 1914 Christmas Truce so special, was that it was a complete one-off, and it's really quite rare. I mean, it's such an anomaly in the grand scheme of war. There really aren't many examples like this, especially recently, of such a high scale anyway. And because of that, it's become a bit of a myth about, did it happen or not, how much of it is true? And the reality is it did, and there's photos that prove it, and there's accounts from several soldiers on both sides that prove it as well. So it did happen, and it is something to really, in my opinion, feel special about, because in a war that was so depressing, like, in comparison to almost any other war we talk about in the podcast, like World War I has just got nothing really to shout about. It's just all depressing, dark mess that just makes you feel so shit.
Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas. We've only done one episode on World War One, which was the Battle of the Somme. We haven't touched it since, really. So we've barely discussed how bad it really was, because there's just not much to discuss about the barbarity of it. And that's why, when we talked about at the very beginning, I think this is a really special moment, because this is at least one example of the most awful scenario that humans can be put into. They're still able to draw some sort of humanity out of it.
Yeah, you're right. It is lovely, but my view on it is, yes, like there is these merry elements to it. And Merry Christmas, everyone. Before I get into this, if you want to turn off now and save yourself from this really morbid thing I'm about to say, then go for it. I'm
mentally muting you right now until you're done. So go on.
What I was going to say is the horror of like having a kickabout with these people who, and then just this, for the soldier on the ground of that truce, of sitting down and talking to these people in the opposite trenches and seeing that you are nothing if not exactly the same, and then knowing this is who you've been fighting, this is who you will keep fighting, and what happens tomorrow when you return back to your trenches is you will try to kill each other.
Yeah.
So you can have these lovely moments where you'll put aside your feelings, but I think that just makes the shock and the emotion of trauma of what's next to come even worse.
But I'd argue you're quite an optimistic person in general, or at least you like to see the ideology.
Not when it comes to World War One. I just feel so caught
but
up about
I don't see why you can't still take a look at that as something, I mean, it's still very special.
Because you're sat there and you're chatting to people, like, why on earth are we here in the mud in France trying to kill each other in these horrible conditions? Like, what is the purpose of this?
Right.
And like, nowhere can you see that as clearly. We have this. You're trained as a soldier to kill what is considered, inferior, deserved of killing, animals, terrible people. You're trained to kill them, thinking that they're cold, emotionless animals or creatures.
Yeah, that's the propaganda.
They're not humans. Yeah, that's what you're taught.
That's what you see it in English newspapers. If you look at early 1910s newspapers of
the
Germans.
Hun, they're like the bear or something.
Yeah.
And it's like then you have this realization, this stark realization that you are just here for basically no reason. Like in World War II, the dividing lines are clearer. Like there is a clear, you're fighting against Hitler.
I get it. But
the only thing you're fighting is here is to test out industrial warfare.
I get it, but all of what you said doesn't make the moment any less special. because it is the fact that this is such an anomaly in the grand, like there's not many stories like this, and there's not many. That's why they'd consider it a special moment to put as a Christmas advert for John Lewis or whoever it is.
Oh yeah, John Lewis did do a Christmas Truce advert.
Or Sainsbury's. It was Sainsbury's.
I just think it's so tone deaf.
You think it's tone deaf?
Yeah, I really do.
To be fair, I think using anything like that for your own supermarket is I agree with that sense.
Benefiting
creating
commercially off World War One feels wild.
Yeah, it does feel wild. I guess I'm with complete agreement with you on that. I just mean that like it's clearly got a special place in people's hearts, and I'm surprised that you feel in such a drastic way about just how used it is. I mean, it's pretty. Well. That is pretty remarkable.
I appreciate exactly where you're coming from,
and it's one day of respite.
Yeah, I do.
Because for 4 years, this war is total carnage, shite, and at least for one day, and maybe even a few. I mean, for some it was a few days that they're able to actually just chat like brothers.
Yeah,
and I think that's nice.
No, I agree. I just think it's something I really struggled to. I think this is the last. I'll get morbid because I do want everyone to have a really Merry Christmas, and I want you to leave watching this podcast feeling happy that you've spent a little bit of Christmas Day listening to us, and then you're going to go have your family and your Christmas dinner.
I actually didn't think this podcast would turn into this kind of fucking analysis of why you're so upset about World War One. No, I thought we were going to talk more about how this is a wholesome Christmas message.
Yeah, I can't remember what I was going to say. I've completely lost my point.
Sorry, I should have interrupted.
Let's just choose to leave it there. I'll come away with a pinch of salt, and I'll come away and say, yeah, you're right. In what is a bleak existence, this is a lovely point of human contact and sympathy. And Joe, am I right in thinking also that on the Christmas Truce there was a football, because you said there was a football game before,
I did say,
but I have heard rumours that there was an actual football game, and as happens when Germany and England meet, Germany beat us. Not on penalties, I imagine.
Yeah, so there's no evidence. We have no way of knowing. There were multiple football matches that happened. There's enough stories that indicate there was, including the one that I read earlier. That one was just a brawl. That was just they threw a football out.
Like a year
everyone
7.
just started trying to kick it as far as they could. So that obviously wasn't a match between Germany versus England. However, there were other matches, and apparently there were matches that was two sides against each other.
You send 11, we'll send 11.
Or it might be probably like 20 versus 20 or something like that. Anyway, we don't know because there's no actual record of it. There is a news article that said, I don't know if it was written in the 50s or 40s, but it wasn't written at the time, that said that England lost 2-3. The Germans beat us to 3-2. So yes, in theory, even that predicts that the Germans still had our number, even in a wartime.
But we got you. We got you in 1966, didn't we?
Yeah, they got us in 1990 and 2010, and
2010 was a real bad one.
I'll finish that with a quote from Captain Robert Miles of the King's Shropshire Light Infantry. Friday, Christmas Day. We are having the most extraordinary Christmas Day imaginable. A sort of unarranged and quite unauthorized but perfectly understood and scrupulously observed truce exists between us and our friends in front. The funny thing is...
Our friends in front?
Yeah,
wow.
You refer to them as friends. The funny thing is, it only seems to exist in this part of the battle line. On our right and left, we can all hear them firing away as cheerfully as ever. The thing started last night, a bitter cold night, with white frost, soon after dusk, when the Germans started shouting, "Merry Christmas, Englishmen to us." Of course, our fellows shouted back, and presently large numbers of both sides had left their trenches unarmed and met in the shot-riddled no-man's land between the lines. Here the arrangement, all on their own, came to be made that we should not fire at each other until after midnight tonight. The men were all fraternizing in the middle. We naturally did not allow them too close to our own line, and swapped cigarettes and lies in the utmost good fellowship. Not a shot was fired all night. The Germans are distinctly bored with the war. In fact, one of them wanted to know what on earth we were doing here fighting them. He then writes the next day, on Saturday, Boxing Day, the Germans simply disregard all our warnings to get down from off their parapet. So, things are in a deadlock. We can't shoot them in cold blood. I cannot see how we can get them to return to business. So he's literally saying, even though we only agreed to midnight as a truce, the Germans just keep coming up. It's Boxing Day, and he's like, these Germans are crazy. They just keep coming up from the parapet and saying, "Come on, let's chill in the middle." And he's like, we're like shouting them, "Get down! We don't want to kill you." And they're like, "No, come."
That does make me smile.
Captain Robert Miles would die 4 days later, on the 30th of December 1914.
You told me not to make it morbid, and that lovely quote.
I had to say it. I had to say it. That's such a
Yeah.
lovely little diary entry that he wrote about Christmas Day, and then that same guy dies only 4 days later.
Maybe the moral of this all is to really appreciate what we have now.
Nice.
And the
Nice
sacrifice,
to bring it back.
the sacrifice of those who came before us. So when you're having this lovely Christmas meal and you tell stories around the table, let's all take a moment to think about the
Sacrifice?
I've already said that the dreadful loss of life in World War One.
I don't really want to think about the dreadful loss of life during World War One. I just want to think about
hug your
I'd
mum
rather
and
think
your
about
dad,
humanity.
or any other relation you have there.
the point of
Or if no
Christmas.
relations,
The point of
your
Christmas
friends.
is goodwill and togetherness. That's the point.
Goodwill to all men and what's the rest of that quote?
I don't know. I'm barely Christian.
What?
No,
What a lie!
what? I'm only learning this now.
You've been going on about this for years.
No, look, I'm with you. I just think we should all treat each other a little bit nicer. And if there was ever a day for that message to ring true, it's on Christmas, when for one day in a 4-year horrible, brutal war, they still had that moment to have a laugh together in the trenches.
God, who the fuck is going to want to listen to this and then go back happily to their Christmas dinner? They'd be like, "Oh, guy, wait, you've been on 15 minutes. Wait, you okay? Everything all right? You went happy as rain to your bedroom to put your headphones on for a second. Oh, don't even ask."
Yeah, that is so bold of you to presume that anyone stopped their Christmas day to go, no, one moment, I'm going to put my headphones on and go upstairs and listen to Pint-Sized history
You
for
got
half
the
an hour.
notification, just stay upstairs.
By the end, they're like crying, coming down. Why did I do that to myself?
No, maybe if you're on the car between destinations, or if you're on the, if you're...
Yeah, you're driving home for Christmas. I'm listening to the war crimes of World War One, told through these two white boys.
Should we sing our viewers out rather than doing a normal ending?
I suppose we could.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Let's
Go on then, let's sing. What do you got?
Okay.
Driving home for Christmas.
Thank you all for watching the
No,
Pint-Sized...
sing. Fuck the.
No,
You want it to be unconventional. Let's sing.
Drive. No, I don't know the words for that
What do
one.
you want to sing?
So here it is, Merry Christmas, everybody's having fun. Look to the future now, it's only just begun. See you next time on Pint-Sized History Podcast. I'm Zach, and
Goodbye, I'm Joe.
have a great Merry Christmas.
Zach, you know what we should do? We should shake hands, and say...
What, like a Christmas
Yeah,
truce?
Jews and Christians unite.
Put it there.
Put it there. Can you whoa, Jack, you just gave me the Trump.
Get over to my camera. You gotta get all the way. Oh, Jesus Christ.
Come in.
I don't think you got in.
No, you can bring it in. Come on. Just bring it in. Oh, fucking hell, he's going off. There you
Here's us both in one camera for Christmas.
go. Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas, everyone.
Zach, I love you. No, that's not that. No, seriously.
Right.
Merry Christmas.
Bye.
Bye.
That's good.
No, cheers to you, mate. I don't care what you did to those kids.
Stop calling me a nonce on the podcast, man. It's the second time you've done it.
I don't care what you did to those kids. I'll always support you, man.
That ain't right, bro.
I'll always support you.
That ain't right calling me a nonce.
I don't care. I've heard what the newspapers will say, and I get it. But at the same time, I will always back you.
Jesus Christ.
Merry
man.
Christmas.
What are people
Merry
that work here going to think if they stumble across that section?
Nonce.